I saw where Norm was not going to be part of it today. Have you heard from anyone else?
Yeah, Bob Root said he wasn't going to be able to come either.
Okay.
Haven't heard anyone else that couldn't.
Okay. Yeah, John's coming on board. Hey, John.
Hey, Bob.
How are you, sir?
John?
Good. I'm good.
You've changed rooms on us, haven't you?
No, I changed the angle of the camera.
Okay.
It was kind of catawalker before, and I felt like I was going to fall off the boat or something.
Well, speaking of boat, that's the only place I've got to log in from, so my scenery will not change.
Very good.
I like your scenery there, Bob.
Yeah, thanks.
I've been wrestling with the bank, trying to. First Bank has changed their app, and I must have made 3 or 4 attempts to try to get the app up and running now. And the last step, and I finally got everything okay. It asked me one last thing. It says, verify the phone number, of course. And I put in my cell phone number, and I said, no, that's not it. I put in my wife's cell phone. No, that's not it. And as it turned out, it was the home number. Well, you know, they send a little code back to the number. Of course, that showed up on the house phone, so I'm trying to change it. And of course, he called back over there. Oh, she's busy right now. And I said, well, tell her to call me when she gets it done. So I may get a phone call here.
Hey, Jim.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
Good morning.
Yes. Peachy keen.
Peachy keen.
It's always morning somewhere, and it's always after 5.
There you go.
Hey, Bob, how's your puppy dog making out there with the heat stroke?
Doing better. Still not 100%. Still on antibiotics. Crazy. I don't know what caused it, but
you don't think it was just the high temp? You don't think it was just the high temperatures?
I'm leaning towards that myself. My brother-in-law was actually on the boat with us, and he got overheated as well. Didn't feel well. So, of course, everybody kept leaving me up on the bridge while we were underway. And I dealt with it, but, we did had a lot of heat on the boat. I think that's what caused the problem initially with Toby.
Do you run the gen set and the air conditioning while you're running?
Well, we ran the gen set like a dummy. I had all the browse open and did not turn the air on. It would have helped. We've added some new screens that we can drop down on the inside. Of course, that you can't do that totally unless you're anchored. And so I left all the screens up. It was like being in a greenhouse up there. It was rather warm.
Yeah.
So I didn't help it.
We've done that when we were cruising. It's 110 on the bridge, and the only air or wind, we only traveled at 10 miles an hour. So we had to create our own breeze, but it's still 110 up on the bridge there.
Yep. Absolutely. Hey, Greg,
Hello,
how are you, sir?
I'm good.
Good.
That's great.
Greg, did
Yes,
you,
sir.
what, last week, you were volunteered to do, I guess, talk to Atlanta Squadron, SEO. Did you get a chance to do that?
Well, I was gone all last week, so I didn't get to start, till I got back. I have reached out to both the SEOs of Knoxville and Atlanta. I have not heard back from either one yet. I
Okay.
did research their websites and what courses they're offering.
All right, now wait. If you have something to report, wait till all of us are online here. I was just asking if you got anything to report, or you hit a bunch of dead ends here.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Bob Carroll, I understand you found out, or you stayed up late reading that prologue.
No, you can't stay up late if you read it. You fall asleep. No, it's actually a very good document. It's about 90 pages. It's a lot of pictures, so it wouldn't be nearly that long if you took them out. Reading your email, I believe you wanted Bob Heck to speak to it, and I can add possibly to it. But I did read it, and I think actually it'd be a document worth all of us going through. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask Heck to talk about. I mean, he's the one that brought it up, and he is on a national committee for public relations or something to that effect. So I want him to address that, what he called promotion playbook. So there's a couple items I want Heck to talk about, but if you get a chance to dig in to that prologue, I'd welcome your input here.
Sure. Okay.
Can you send us the executive summary? So we don't have to. Yeah, so we don't have to read it all.
No, I did. What I can do is send you the PDF where you can read it yourself.
Thank you.
Any synopsis, I would leave out something. You don't need just the bullets, but you can scan it pretty quickly. Obviously, not everything in there is going to be valid for any organization, any period in time, but we can pick out the things we need to start with and add to as need be. So, yeah.
Okay, good.
Here's the booger that created all of our problems.
There he is.
Right here.
He's in good shape.
Yeah, this is Toby. This is the guy that caused us to cut our trip short. So he's decided to sit in my lap and keep pawing at me to love on him a little bit. So if I look distracted, it's because he's pestering me.
All right, we're waiting on the Hex. Oh, Bob Root.
Bob sent me an email, said he was not going to be able to make it.
Who's that? Root?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, very well. So just the Hex then. Bobby, throw a paper wad down to their boat.
They're not on their boat. Yeah,
they're not.
Oh, they're at their house.
Yeah, since they bought their new house, I have not seen them. They were here not this past weekend, but the weekend before, and we missed them. But no, they're new homeowners a couple hours away from the boat now.
Where did they buy?
Is it Cookeville? Does that sound right, Anthony?
I think it is.
Yeah, I believe that's where they bought.
Well, that's where they lived originally, wasn't it?
I'm not sure. They've lived in several different places. I was surprised they came back to Tennessee looking. They were in Florida. They looked several locations and almost bought one place and decided not to because the monthly dues and HOA and all were sky high on the place. So I was a little bit surprised that they bought this one.
I think they lived in Cookeville 10 years ago.
Okay. Well, I may be wrong. Bob and Marty can clarify if I'm wrong about that. I know it's a couple of hours away from here, is what they indicated.
Yeah.
Did they indicate they would be online today with us?
I did not get any response from them.
Okay,
And I have not been contacted.
okay.
Should we give them a phone call and see if their status is?
Yeah, Jack, you want to do that?
I'll try.
And then I guess I'd hate to waste 5 other people's time just for 2.
Yeah.
John, you want to start while we try to locate them?
Yeah, go ahead. We'll just, that's so good here.
You say you're going to intro or you want me to?
Yeah, go ahead. You go ahead and do it.
All right.
You've got somebody online here now, it looks like.
Yeah, it's Bob and Marty. We just got on. We don't have any internet right now.
Hi, Bob and Marty.
Hi.
I was just getting ready to call you. So now I don't have
Yeah,
to.
well, I know. No, our internet for some reason is not working,
Oh,
and I don't know what it is. It's Comcast. What can you say?
well, glad you were able to get the phone number on it.
Yeah, I got it going. So
You can, if you're on a cell phone, you can still do it over the cell service if you got a good data service. But if you don't have good data service, then that's not good either. The phone will do.
no.
We know what you look like. I think we remember that.
I'm just as ugly as I ever was.
All right, we'll get going so we can quit one of these days.
Okay.
John has asked me to kind of coordinate the items here for this meeting because I put together the other document. What I'm trying to do with the document is to document what we talk about, what we decide as we come up with these different options so that we can list the pros and cons and use this as an ongoing document so that next year when we change officers, we can pass that on to the new folks so that they don't have to create the wheel each and every year. That way we can actually get 2 or 3 years experience rather than 1 year experience 3 times. So I think, and John and I chatted earlier today, I think a lot, or certainly some of what we come up with, what we do, and any effort to, I guess, talk to the community to get our name out is going to help in the long run. I think, for example, last week, Bob Heck talked about personal service announcements. There was some discussion, and I think Bob found out some stuff in the meantime. But I recall 10 years ago or thereabouts when Sue and I were up here the first time, Sandy Schoolmaker was commander. And it was either her or Linda Grochon or someone got Sue and me down at UTC at a radio station talking about Power Squadron as a public service announcement. And when it seemed like when Sue and I left, everything got dropped. So I'm trying to avoid that happening in the future by documenting what we talk about. If we come up with resources that we can use, that's why, I'm asking Bob and Marty and Bob Carroll and Greg to talk about what they found out in the last week so that we can get the resources down there, and maybe those will help us come up with ideas on what tasks we can do to present ourselves to the public. So bottom line is, on that document I sent out, the top part of it is more important than the bottom part. But maybe we got to start with the bottom part, the potential resources, to jog our memory, to help us be a little more creative on what can we do out there. So, and again, what John DePrima said to me earlier today, even if we don't accomplish as much as we really want to or think we can or should do, at least we're doing something that we can build on later in the year and next year and, you know, ongoing. I think that's why John was looking at this as an ongoing effort, not just a one-shot deal.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, Bob Heck, last week you were talking quite a bit about Prologue from what's it called? Promotion Playbook, Boat Live 365, a whole bunch of good sounding words. Tell us more about that if you would.
Okay. Well, first of all, we got to understand what Prologue is, what a pro is. Pro is a public relations officer. We need to have, each squadron needs to have a public relations officer, somebody dedicated to public relations, so that we have one place to go to get everything set up and responsible for coordinating everything. That's what your PRO is. Your PRO is your idea guy too. The Prologue is his guide to different things that he can do. It does not show you how to do things. It's not a okay, this is what you do type of thing. It gives you ideas. These are things that have worked and something that you may be able to do in the future to get them to do. That's what it's all about. That's what Prologue is about. Promotional plan book. That is showing different promotions that you could use to do things. It's just another guidebook. It's something else to make it work. Live 365, Marty's more familiar with that than I am. But it's another thing. In other words, what National wants to do and what their job is to help the squadrons. They're not up there telling the squadrons what they need to do. They're up there to answer questions and to have the squadrons do what they can do. Now, one of the things that you've talked about, what you just got done talking about, a way to start that is to do what's known as an SWOT or SWOT analysis. SWOT is strengths and weaknesses, opportunities, and you get together with 4 or 5 people is all it takes, all it is in your squadron. You can do it in groups of 4 or 5 people, whatever. And you sit down in a very comfortable atmosphere and you just talk about your strengths and weaknesses. It's not, what are we going to do? How can we do this? It's, what are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? What are the opportunities that we have? And think outside the box. And then once you've done that, you write it down, and then you get your groups together and you look at it and you say, okay, these are things that we could probably work on. Now we can come up with our ideas on how we can do these things. First, we have to know what we need to do, and then we got to figure out how we're going to do them. So that's what that is all about. National is just, they do the organizational kind of stuff that they got to do because they're a big organization. But their main thing is really, with all the committees and everything, is to go ahead and help the squadrons. One of the biggest things they've got, again, is America's boating channel, the TV kind of thing. It's open to the public. And if we can get people to tune into that, they can learn things about safety and all kinds of things like that. And this stuff is stuff that's been put out by National. Now, as far as doing education and things like that, that comes more into marketing. That's sales. Right now, all we're doing right now with public relations is trying to get our name out there and get people familiar with us. And that's what we have to work on first. Once we get that done, then we'll be able to go ahead and move on into marketing. But right now, what we're looking at, and other squadrons are well past where we're at. They've gone way beyond, and they are way into the marketing and education. We're not yet. So that's what's going on. And like I said, all this stuff is available. It's available. Go to the national website, the ORG site. Go to the different committees. They've got all kinds of information that you can download and look at and read and have ideas. But together as a group ourselves, what we probably need to do before anything is do an analysis of our strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities.
All right. I need input from people on, I guess, does Bob make sense in what he's saying? Do we want to fall back a little bit and start, as you may say, start walking before we run?
Well, I agree with Bob. Until we know who we are, I don't know how we can plan where we're going. And to add to what Bob commented on, the last portion of the SWOT is threats. The whole idea of SWOTs is, like I said, get a group of people together with flip charts. It really starts with brainstorming. You do not evaluate any statement that anybody made about the squadron and whatever statement they made reflecting on what they think we are at certain aspects of, the size of the squadron, age of our squadron, are we, ahead of anybody, behind anybody, what we need to do. It's just brainstorming, and you then start to list. In fact, you typically do it over 2 meetings. You get all your brainstorm ideas down on flip charts, you fill up as many sheets as you need, and then you wrap the meeting up with everybody. You have an opportunity to review those, but next time you come together, you start to try to combine or eliminate some of the statements. Not you don't want to disregard anything. You start to prioritize, basically, so that you can begin to develop an idea of where we're at as a starting point. You do that whether it's a team or whether it's a business unit. In this case, it happens to be for a squadron, and that gives us kind of a baseline of where we're beginning. And it's going to be new to all of us. I went through things like this at Xerox many, many moons ago, decades ago. So I at least have a concept of what they're trying to do. But otherwise, we're all going to be starting with a different frame of reference of where we think the squadron's at. And maybe we have an idea of where we think we need to go, but we're going to approach it differently if we don't get everybody on the same page. And that's the idea of the SWOT, is to bring everybody together. And it would typically be over a couple of meetings. As Bob said, it would not be in this format. We'd need to be together somewhere. You typically don't do it, well, we don't have a home office per se, but go somewhere comfortable where you can just sit and relax, typically at a location that we would not normally meet at. So we don't, it's not designed to be a comfortable setting. It's designed to get everybody kind of in the frame of reference of just thinking from the other side of your mind where we normally operate from, and just brainstorm. So yeah, long answer. I do agree with Bob, and I think that's a good beginning of where we need to be, or what we need to work on, I should say.
Any other comment?
Yeah, I'll go along with that also. A SWOT would, I think, really a really good starting place. The only comment I would add is, if we want to do one of these, we need to pick a leader who has been through this before and understands it's kind of a structured process. And so we need someone who knows that process to lead it.
Say that comment one more time, please.
I'm saying doing a SWOT is, it needs a structured process. And so we need a leader who's been through it before and understands what the process is.
Okay, could I add one thing? And I agree with that, Greg, because that brings another important element, is you typically want somebody to facilitate this that does not have, they're not required to have a buy-in. They don't have a side that they're trying to arbitrate one to the other. So an outsider but understands the SWOT process, they don't really need to understand anything about us. They just need to know how that process works so they can keep the group of people at least heading in the right direction as you begin to work through this.
You want a neutral leader.
Yes.
All right, do we have anyone like that? Or how would you?
Well, as Bob said, he doesn't, we don't need to have somebody that's a buy-in to this, and we're all buy-ins. Every one of us is, because we're part of this squadron. We need to go outside and get somebody and there are lots of people in Chattanooga that are very familiar with SWAT.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we could talk somebody into doing it. It could be somebody from PJC or somewhere like that would probably be more than happy to facilitate this for a couple of hours.
Mr. Commander, you got any input one way or the other?
Well, that'd be nice if we had somebody or knew somebody. I don't right off. But, I mean, I would try to. The only thing I had in mind was try to be a neutral party and facilitate among ourselves. But I don't think I've done these things before, and I don't think they're that difficult. You just need to brainstorm it and get it down, just like Bob said.
Yeah. The only thing, John, about having somebody in our squadron do it is they come in with a bias, even if they try to be open-minded. You just can't help but do that. Someone that really doesn't even understand Power Squadron, but understands how to facilitate, is probably, would give us a better result, because they're not trying to arbitrate one way or the other. They're just trying to help us stay with the process.
I understand.
All right, John, my question to you is do you want to, I'll call it divert to conduct a SWOT analysis rather than pursuing your initial thought, your initial objective? Do we want to do
wait
the
a minute,
SWOT process first?
You're diverting a little bit, because my initial objective, clarify this, was to get the group together and get a collaborative consensus. So I didn't, even though I have my own ideas, and everybody does, I realized that the best outcome is always going to be when people can put in the input in and come up with a consensus. I firmly believe that, the strengths and weaknesses are significant and important. But I don't know that it's that big a challenge to determine what those are. But nevertheless, I'm open to the process, and I think process is important in this case, because everybody has to feel comfortable with it and have a stake in it, and it's got to be something that everybody can feel invested in. So.
All right. So it sounds like we want to perform this analysis on ourselves then. Bob Carroll? Bob Heck? Any other input?
Yeah, I agree that we should. That would, if you're asking for my thoughts on it, that would be my starting point.
All right. I think Bob Carroll made the comment that there should be enough resources in the area that we could get someone to facilitate the analysis here. How do we go about making phone calls, contacting people?
Well, I think Bob Heck mentioned that. I don't have anybody off the top of my head, because I had not been thinking about that. Bob, do you know of a starting point? We can look around and ask some questions. The main thing is someone that is familiar with SWAT and familiar with facilitating a group. It doesn't matter. You can drop them in the middle of any kind of a group if they know the process, and they can walk a group through the process itself. It's not the fact that they need to know anything about Power Squadron to do it. It's just going to be a matter of finding that individual.
That's a good point.
I would say that the chances are, look around just look at the marinas, look at the boating clubs, look at PYC. The people that have these boats are involved in all this stuff. Just because they have that boat, they are usually pretty knowledgeable and have been in situations. They know about SWAT. They've been through it. A lot of those people have, and would be more than happy to do this. We also have a college there in town. They know about these things. They've got they've got people in marketing and PR and things like that that are majoring in that. They've got professors, and again, they could do that kind of thing. It's just a matter of talking it up, finding who could or who would. I mean, you just look at the managers that there are, the heads of the businesses that there are in the marinas, for instance, and I think we could find somebody fairly quickly.
All right, can all of us start making phone calls?
Yeah.
The marinas, the yacht clubs. I'll start calling around UTC, see what I come up with.
You're more likely to find somebody from an educational background who is familiar with how to structure this sort of thing. My experience with the people at the marinas they're not as likely to be supportive or conducive to understanding what we're trying to do.
Yeah, great.
I don't think we'll get very far with that. The other thing is, anybody that's got that kind of expertise on an educational level, regardless of what their particular background is, could be boating or not. But we could do this on Zoom. I mean, it's not as conducive as a comfortable spot where everybody's together, but I don't see that happening. So I think we need to be thinking in terms of Zoom, so we don't have to restrict ourselves to somebody local. Could be somebody from Atlanta, or somebody from Nashville, or somebody that's from any location that's willing to do that and work with us.
The brainstorming phase certainly can be done on Zoom.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that would work. The Zoom thing would work. It needs to be kind of people together brainstorming, as Bob said. I mean, we're not talking about a whole bunch of people. We're not talking about a big group. We're talking about at the most 6 people, at the most.
You know what, we could get a hold of PYC and see if we could use their clubhouse for 6 people. I don't think the county is limiting less than 6 people.
No,
I mean, I don't mind calling PYC and see if we could do something like that.
That's what I was thinking, Jim. Maybe we could gather at PYC, because you've got enough space there, that we wouldn't be sitting on top of each other like in somebody's living room.
Right.
If you've ever gone through a brainstorming session like this, there's going to be flip chart pages taped all around the walls when we get through. And to do that on Zoom and not be able to see the bullets that are up there,
It's not going to work.
I just don't think it would work. So I agree. It would, if we're going to do it properly, if you will, I think we all need to be in a group together. Something about the synergy you pick up from people being around you when you really get in the frame of mind of people starting to share ideas and just put bullets up. It's energizing and it gets everybody involved in it, but to try to do it on the computer where we can't see a bullet once it's written down, somewhere, I think we just lose the effect of it.
All right,
agree.
I would support that, but at the same time, John and his wife I think they're over 60, so they may be in a higher risk group for the virus when we join up there.
We can't live our lives in fear of this virus and not do anything. I mean, you got to weigh the risk. I mean, we don't have it. I'm 73, and I'm not at all concerned about getting together with 4 or 5 or 6 people. We can wear masks and we can be apart from each other. We can do social distancing. I think it's ridiculous to be scared of that. I'm not going to live my life scared.
All right, I agree that, and that is a personal decision. I like your idea of distance and masks. So I think that as a minimum would be appropriate. All right, so we're gonna call around, Bob Heck, can you poke around the district yet and see if any squadron members from, I don't know, would it be appropriate to look for a leader from another squadron from Atlanta? Person comes up here, we'll buy him dinner.
I could ask and see what I could find out. I've 2 years ago or a year ago, whatever it was, at the district commanders conference at the national meeting, you know, they had the one-day thing. We did a SWAT at that ourselves, and it was extremely interesting, and everybody enjoyed it. And we came up with a lot of good things. So you know, I know that the Power Squadron is well aware of what SWAT is, and in fact, there's even a chapter on it in the prologue. So yeah, I'd be happy to see if anybody would be willing to travel to Chattanooga to do it.
Okay. All right, check on that if you would. We'll look at other options here too for facilitators. All right. Any other discussion on that? Oh, my question would be if a person would want to be paid for that, would we be willing to pay some fair amount?
I think your
What's that,
idea
Bob?
of dinner might be.
Yeah, dinner'd be a good idea.
Okay.
or expenses, you know, I mean expenses.
Yeah, yeah.
There are people who do that for a living, and they deserve to be paid if it's one of those kind of people. Well,
If we
Yeah,
go,
I'd like the idea, Bob, or somebody mentioned possibly going to UTC. They have probably a professor of business over there that could do it.
There's a Jack Vincent's daughter is she's a PhD and she teaches over their pharmacy, and she would be the one that would most likely. In fact, the time that one of the times that we had a radio program over there, that she had us on several times, and that she was instrumental in that. So she might be a resource.
She'd be a good contact to start with, because she could point us to who we would possibly be able to talk with to, you know, arrange it.
Sure.
Tell me who we're talking about.
Jack Vincent's daughter.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember her first name.
Yeah, me too, John. Hold on. Because I've emailed her before. Let me see if I have her contact information.
Vicky Vincent.
Nikki?
Vicky
Vicky?
Vincent. Wait a minute. Okay, no, maybe it isn't. That's another one. That's somebody else. But
Yeah.
It's not Vic.
it sounded like it, but that's not it. That's somebody else. I don't have. I thought.
Well, I wish I could get on my computer right now, but I can't. Very frustrating.
That's Vincent.
Okay.
Well, somebody could call Jack.
Oh, Jack.
Yeah, Jack. Yeah, but
Sue and I'll take care of that.
okay.
Yeah, check with her. She's a really nice lady too. She's very, very supportive of what we do.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna pursue that in the next week. See if we can identify some folks that could be a facilitator and see the feasibility of conducting that during our our weeks of isolation here. I would like to complete the items that I said in the email, so that some people have prepared for this to talk for 5 minutes about whatever. For example, Marty and her America's Boating Channel. I'd like to complete that so that we can have record of that and document it. We may not be using this right away unless it's part of our SWOT analysis.
I agree. I agree. But
I'd like
I will be happy to talk about America's Voting Channel for just a couple of minutes here. And first will start by saying America's Voting Channel is a public site that is accessible by all. You can get to it using americasvotingchannel.com. And as everyone knows, USPS stuff is not .com sites, it's all .org. But America's Voting Channel is a .com, and it's easy to get to either just using the .com site. You can access it. You can go to YouTube and type in America's Voting Channel. You'll go right there. You can get to it, of course, through our website with the Power Squadron. You can get to it so many ways. It's on Facebook. It's on Twitter. It's on Instagram. It's on Pinterest. Just about any of those places that you want to go, you can find America's Voting Channel. They do a great job of getting their name out there. I think I sent you all my communication with Marty Lafferty, and Marty let me know that they did not have a PSA available that we could just take to radio and television stations and say, here, can you play this for the voting public? You know, he said they don't have one, but he's going to get busy on making them now while he's doing filming for this group of videos that he's working on now. They get their money from a grant from the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary that pays a lot of the expenses. All of the videos are done by squadron members. A lot of them are developed because squadron members send in ideas. Hey, let's do this, and our squadron would like to be involved. And Marty comes with his crew, and he brings the videographer down there, and they film it and edit it and, you know, go on. And sometimes it gets selected and put on the next, you know, session. It's been going on for several years. I believe there were 2 PDFs included with Marty's email, and one is a list showing the picture and the title of each video. He has those grouped in sections, like you need to know about navigation. These might be appropriate. You know, there's one on ATONs and, you know, several different things under navigation there. There's one on life jackets. There's one on jet skis. You know, you want to know about jet skis? Here, look at these topics. They're, you know, they have them on boat trailing. They have everything out there. The only thing that I notice a distinct lack of is there's not a lot with fishing and hunting on there. But as you know, that's not a strong part of our membership. We do get a few fishermen, but, you know, that's not one of the large groups that have really joined in with America's Voting Club. So the next PDF that Marty included on that, and I hope you all received this, that gave a description of each of those videos. Now, I think if we got started and if we wanted to start promoting America's Voting Channel, either through yacht clubs or whatever it is we decide to do, we just need to have all those connections and have all our information straight. Please remember, everything that Marty puts out, and it's all by our squadrons, with our squadron people, it's all done by us as members of America's Voting Club, then all of it is public domain information. It is not our Squadron intellectual property. So we are free to republish or rebroadcast any public domain information without fear of stepping on toes of a member who has developed something specifically for use by our members. So, does that help clear anything up, or who has questions about what this is and where to find it?
Marty, I shared their webpage. I don't know if everybody can see it reasonably on their
Yes.
computer screens.
We can see it now.
Yeah, so that's just to give people an idea of, as you were talking through the different
Good.
sections.
Thanks, Jack. Of course, I can't see that right now.
Yeah.
No, it's just their America's Voting Club channel.com, and just thought it might be good to have an idea. And I see they got one on social distancing for voters.
Yes, that's their newest one.
Okay. Well, that's just to give people a flavor for it. I'm going to stop that so it doesn't distract.
I also, just so you know, since Linda is going to publish the Seaway again now till the end of the year, I have sent her the links because I get the weekly post from National that says, here's the video that's coming out this Friday. And every Friday there's a new one, okay? So I have sent that to Linda, and I'm trying to get her to put that directly as I get it from the Seaway. Of course, I'm into the Seaway, and she was having a little bit of a problem with that. But I'm hoping we found a way around it. I also get information about webinars that are coming out. Now, webinars are part of our intellectual material. They are not available without paying a fee, but they can be viewed by non-members as well as members if you're willing to pay to get them. And they're all done online, and you download them. I think some of it, that's if you go to the webinar library. If you attend one of the live webinars, you can be involved in the question and answer sessions. But they don't come out as routinely as America's Voting Channel videos do.
All right, Marty, I thank you for that. I wanted the overview, which you did nicely, so that we have an idea of what this thing is about. And as we go through our analysis here of ourselves, it should be in our mind, is this something we can use, and how can we use it? So thank you for doing that. I don't want to drag this on much longer. However,
may I ask Marty a question, please? Marty, I noticed in the prologue that there was mention of a DVD by the National Public Relations Committee that had 6 30-second PSAs on it. Do you know anything about that? There's a reference number where you can order it?
I do not know anything about that.
Okay, it was.
But it sounds like something we need to look at.
Yeah, and it mentioned there was a charge for it, but it's entitled Voting Information Video, and it's in the PR catalog, gives it an item number, but it was listed in the prologue, and I wrote that down. I did not reference the page, but I'll be happy to look into that. If they created PSAs at one time, it might be worth at least looking at them, see if it's still relevant.
Yeah, they're still timely.
And some of the information in the prologue appears to be a little dated, and this could be something they did years ago, but I'll be happy to look into that further if that'd be helpful.
I know Mary Page Abbott, our current chief, is really trying to get onto getting all of our publications and whatever, things of this nature. She's trying to get everything updated and make sure there's no errors or overlaps of materials and things of that nature, and get everything better organized for our website and for the information that we put out. So that's one of the goals to get done.
Jim, if you like, maybe Marty and I could talk offline and see I think it'd be worth at least investigating if this DVD still exists and if it's got any relevant material on it, and we can report back later on.
Yeah, that is a good point. Please do it. Bob Carroll, though, do you want to, since you stayed up late reading prologue, anything else you want to add to what Bob Heck's input was?
Yeah, are you asking me to bore you some more with what's in the prologue? Is that what?
If you want to talk to all of us right now about your overview of it, try to limit time on it.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to take 5 minutes. Let me do this. I would encourage each of you to go to log on. You just go to, log into the America's Boating Club, go to site index, and in the top right-hand column, just click on prologue. And it'll open it up. It's a PDF. It's 90 pages. Just read some of the headlines. And I think Bob mentioned earlier, this is not a how-to, by topic. It's a primer. It'll give you some basic information to get your thoughts started, and kind of a general guideline in each one of these chapters. But it titles like public relations planning, organizing an educational campaign, press releases. There's a national competition and awards. We're a long ways from that. Social media, speakers bureaus, logos and artwork, and some information on that. A PR strategy plan, which is probably going to be at some point after we do the SWAT, we would be looking into beginning to develop that. Forming boaters alliances, the squadron, the SWAT we talked about. It even goes into things like photography and the law. If we're going to use any photography to put together promotional items, making sure we get non-disclosures or the press release, I should say, signed. Producing squadron videos when plans go awry, because we're not going to be perfect. We're going to have setbacks. How do you go back and make the best and re-energize everybody and get started? Boating safety resources, boat shows. The Brunswick Dealer Calling Guide, I'm not sure how relevant that'll be for us today. And then there's the very last topic is the Chief Commander's 10 Steps to Fill a Classroom. And there's chapters on each one of those. So again, we can go into some more detail, but I think it'd be best for everybody maybe this week to open it up, just go through it. You don't need to read the whole thing, but just get familiar with maybe the first few chapters that may be appropriate for us, starting with SWAT and maybe looking at developing a strategic plan. And hopefully by the end of the year, we can at least be well underway with that. I would hope so anyway.
Good. Thank you, Bob. We saved the best for last. Greg. You started talking before.
Out of town all last week, so slowly getting rolling here. I did reach out to the SEOs from Knoxville and Atlanta. I've not heard back from either one yet, but hopefully by next week I'll have some more report, maybe some more insight from them. I did look at both of their websites and kind of looked at what their offerings are. Pretty much they both offer exactly the same stuff we offer. That list I sent out with the online courses and so on is the same stuff they have. There was one thing I did see that was Knoxville is doing, which is they offer a proctored exam for the online ABC course. And that's required if you want to get a Tennessee education card. They won't do it just online. They won't give you the card if you just do it online. So that's a plus thing. But I think the major challenge right now for us at least, and maybe for them too, is how do we get people to sign up for ABC in the first place? So I will hopefully get to discuss that with the SEOs next week, and maybe they can give me some ideas of how they solve that problem, if they did.
Okay. Thank you. Bob Heck, last week, I forget exactly what we were talking about, but you said that there were 2 squadrons in the Fort Myers area. That bring that topic back up again. I forget the details.
Okay, Cape Coral is one of the big squadrons that's down there. They've got, I don't know, 500 members or so. But anyway, they have been very successful in doing what you need to do online. Also, the one at North Fort Myers. I know that those 2 squadrons, talking to the people that are on my committee are in those squadrons, and they've said that they have been very successful and are continuing to go forward. Now, the PR committee, we will be coming out with I don't know if you want to call it a webinar or a
virtual.
Yeah, it's going to be virtual, whatever it is, meeting, presentation, however you want to look at it or call it. That'll be coming out here probably in September, about the time when the governing board was supposed to happen. I know we're putting some stuff together right now on that, and it's going to be very interesting. I'm not privy to exactly. I'm not involved in actually doing anything on that yet. I'm more involved with the MOUs and stuff like that. We're going to be doing away with some of the MOUs too. So
That's called job elimination.
So
go ahead.
But the 2 squadrons that I was referencing are both down there on the west coast of Florida, south of Tampa.
Okay. All right, we've gone 50 minutes, too long. Any other comments, input?
I think we had some good input and good meeting.
All right, I'm not going to summarize what we talked about or who volunteered to do what, but that'll come out in either an email or an update to the planning document. So the big thing is between now and next week, start talking SWOT. I got to find out what the heck that's about. I've been retired so long that they didn't have that stuff back then.
Yeah.
Anything else, then? Any other comments? Gentlemen and lady, thank you for your time and your input. I guess we'll go again next week, Tuesday, 4 o'clock.
Okay, thank you, and thanks to Jack for putting this all together for us. We really appreciate all you're doing, Jack.
Well,
Thank you, Jack.
now, Bob,
you,
am I
Ken.
correct that you have to sign into the Power Squadron webpage to be able to get to that site index?
Yes, sir. That's the way I did it.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah,
make sure
sign
you know
in
your
as a
sign
member.
in, right? Okay, I got it. So I just went through the process just to make sure.
All right,
Yep, that's how you do it.
Thanks a lot.
All right,
See ya.
y'all take care.
Take care.
see you
Care.
next
All
time.
right, everybody.
See you next week.
Next week.